Hi, my name is Morten, and in this video I will show you how you can scale out RavenDB to run as an external service. This video is part of the Ucommerce Academy. So let's talk a little bit about what scaling out RavenDB actually means, and why should you care. In Ucommerce, we are utilizing RavenDB for full text search and for faceted search. For example, here on my demo store, when I go to a category, I will see a list of facets in the left side navigation bar. This is utilizing RavenDB to render these facets. RavenDB will automatically be installed with Ucommerce when you install the platform. To make it easy and don't have to do any configuration, Ucommerce will run an embedded version of RavenDB on your website. This means that you will be able to get up and running quickly without any configuration or anything additional you have to do to enable faceted search. But it also means that RavenDB will run embedded on your website. It's an embedded resource that are taking up resources from the website or from the server that are handling the requests from the users. It means that it will drain available resources that could otherwise have been used to serve requests for the users. In high performance application, this is a problem because it means that under load, your website will most likely not have the resources needed in order to serve requests fast enough. You can fix this by configuring RavenDB to run as an external service in Ucommerce. It means that RavenDB will not run embedded on the website under the IIS process that are serving requests, but it will run from somewhere else. There's a couple of solutions that you can use for this. One of the solutions is to use an external IIS website and configure Ucommerce to look and connect to Raven using an URL. And that is the approach that I will show you how to do today, because it's the easiest part. You can also run it as a Windows service, and you can also host it in Raven HQ, which is basically a service that Raven HQ offers, so you can have the database running and host it on their end. That is the most reliable solution for you if you are running in an Azure setup. You probably don't want to run RavenDB in an IIS website under Azure because it is not reliant that it will work. You should only use it as an IIS website if you are running a virtual machine. Even then, we recommend that you run it as a Windows service. Okay, let's see how this is done in Ucommerce. Let's imagine that my local setup here is a virtual machine that are running under Azure. In this case, a IIS website can make sense. To enable this, we need to change some settings in Ucommerce. So let's start out with that. I will find my website. In this case, it's an Umbraco website that runs, but you just need to find the Ucommerce folder under your CMS. I will go to the apps folder, and here you will see a default configuration that looks like this. You will see RavenDB 2.5, and then you will see RavenDB 3.0 .disabled. To scale out RavenDB, we recommend that you disable the RavenDB 2.5 app because it is an older version of RavenDB. And we will here enable the RavenDB 3.0 app. What this means is that RavenDB will no longer run embedded, but right now it will not work because I don't have any appropriate setting that will point me to RavenDB. Let's take a look at the configuration. In RavenDB 3.0, there is no embedded version that exists, which means that when you enable RavenDB 3.0, the embedded version is no longer present, and the RavenDB integration will not work until you configure it properly. So let's do that. Here we can see that we have a search session provider, which is the connection to RavenDB. You can configure a database name and you can configure a URL. This needs to point to your IIS website or Windows service for that matter, or RavenHQ for that matter. Regardless of the integration that you are using RavenDB with, you need to configure an URL, which is how RavenDB will connect to the server. We need to configure this in the apps folder under a component and a configuration file that will not be overwritten by Ucommerce. So the trick here is to take this configuration file. Let's just copy it and put it somewhere else. The trick is that it needs to be included after the configuration file that are under RavenDB 3.0, otherwise it will not override it properly. In this case it comes after because the configuration will be loaded up as you see it in the folder structure. So I have my RavenDB thing here. I actually don't need anything but the search session provider, so I will strip out anything else. In this case I'm just lazy and I have copied the entire configuration file. I could also create it manually from scratch and then copy in the right component. But the end result is the same. We need a configuration file that has the search session provider in a configuration file that are included after the default one that we ship out of the box. So let's just save it here for now. We need to find the URL a little later. Before we do that, we need to set up a new IIS website that RavenDB will serve this requests for. So I will open up my IIS manager and then I will create a new website. Let's call it my RavenDB instance. I will select the .NET 4.5 app pool. You can configure your IIS as crazy as you want. You don't have to do these exact steps that I'm doing. This is just my configuration. The important part is that we end up with an IIS site that runs with RavenDB on. Under inetpub, I will then create a new website folder, my RavenDB instance. And the host name will be http:// my RavenDB instance. And that is without HTTP on, so my RavenDB instance. This is now a IIS website that runs under my IIS, but when I request the site, I will probably not see anything because my bindings are not working, so I need to do this as well. Like this. When I request this website again, I will now see that it is actually picking up the right one, but the website doesn't contain anything, so of course it will not show anything properly. It will just give me an error. What we need to do now is we need to have RavenDB running under this website. To do this, I will search for RavenDB, go to ravendb.net, and in here we can download RavenDB in the version that we need. In this case, we need the latest version of RavenDB 3.0. So I will take that, and I need the server. I need a stable version of the latest RavenDB that exists. In this case, Raven 3.0. And and I will download this zip package here. Alright, now it has been downloaded. Now I need to open up the zip file. And in this zip file here, you will have all the different ways that you can run RavenDB on your server. The server here is a Windows service that you can activate. That is not the one that we need. We need the web one here, which will contain a bin folder, a config file, and web config. I will take these 3 files here and copy them under my website that I created in IIS, which is my RavenDB instance. This is where my IIS website is hosted. So we'll take the content of the web folder and put it into my root of my running IIS website. There we go. It has been copied in. So when I request my RavenDB instance here again, I will now see that RavenDB will spin up. It will now show us RavenDB on my website here. And what I can do now is I can create a database called Ucommerce. It now has 0 documents in it. And we can actually connect our website to this instance here. The way that we do that is that we now need to go back to our configuration file. So I will go back to my IIS website. And here I can find my RavenDB config placed under the apps folder. The hostname here now needs to point to my RavenDB instance. And the database is Ucommerce, like this. We need to do an IIS reset. And we can now request the front end again. We will now get an exception, and that is because RavenDB doesn't contain anything which is expected. So we need to go into our backend, go to Ucommerce, go to search, and click index everything from scratch. What we can see here is over in RavenDB that we have 0 documents. When I click index everything from scratch, we should see in a few seconds that it now contains the documents needed. We can request the front end again. And now we have our facets appearing again, but it is now running RavenDB as an IIS website. That is all you need to do in order to scale out RavenDB. We really recommend that you do this for your live environments, but also for your testing environments. Thank you for watching and see you again soon. Bye.